I like that.
I was waiting for you to start singing. I had your microphone on then, hoping that you just start singing away. Talk to the hands, or should we say jazz hands?
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
Yes.
Good morning, Jazz hands. Now, the goal in life is, well, for us as married men, is to remain married. No one wants to become Han Solo. You see what I did there?
Yeah, very nice.
It was
good.
Hans, last week you had an enormous number of hits to your YouTube channel, and I think it was the controversy around what we discussed. And can you just give us the brief? Last week you talked about what?
Yeah, last week I talked about that we should aim for a good marriage rather than a happy marriage. Actually, the YouTube video is called Happy Marriage versus Good Marriage. But the premise is built on this premise, and I've just been thinking about this week. I lecture at Table College, and I have lots of students. And one of the assignments I have when I do the marriage and relationship counselling course is that I get the students to interview a couple who've been married over 20 years. So that's their assignment. And then they need to talk about this couple, how their marriage went over 20 years. And again, in this situation, you never get a couple saying, we were happily married for 20 years, but you will get couples saying, it was a good marriage.
And so it was a good marriage.
Or, well, for 20 years it wasn't good. It still is a good marriage, sorry. I tell you what, you're very quick there.
Let's talk about, well, I think that could be the whole theme of this morning's discussion, the word semantics. You said last week that you and your wife were not happily married, which I think that in itself is probably going to stir up a few, get people a little riled up.
No, you're right there actually. What I was trying to say is that we have a good marriage, and we have lots of happy moments. But if you were to say, well, we're always happy, are we continually riding into the sunset, in each other's arms and having a romantic time the whole time? No, but we do have happy moments, no question about that.
But every little girl, this is something that Joe said off air, he said every little girl grows up thinking she's going to be the princess and that she's going to live happily ever after.
Well, okay. Like I'd know. Yeah.
Well, but I know even for my girls, like they read all the fairy tales and it's all about living happily ever after. Are we shattering the image of that?
No, but if your girls are seeing you and your wife being good to each other and being kind and having romantic and happy moments in their marriage, then they've got a very realistic picture of what's in store for them, which would be very good for them actually. So as parents, we can shift them from the fairy tale to what's real, two people being good to each other, kind to each other, working things out together. Even sometimes having arguments, but still loving each other and caring for each other.
Dealing with things when they come up.
Yeah, that's the best thing to give to your kids.
Yeah,
wow. Look, can I just talk about the elephant that's in the corner of the room for everybody? I mean, what are the stats now? Half of marriages fail. Is that close to?
It's not that high. It's about 30%. But if you were to count all the people who just live together but who aren't married, so de facto couples, because that's not actually registered as a divorce, would be over 50%.
Yeah, okay. So do you think, Hans, that possibly some of the reason why some marriages aren't going the distance is because people have the wrong focus? They're going into it thinking, I want to be happy, I want to make her happy or make him happy, and if that's not achieved, suddenly you feel like you're failing.
That could be a problem in some marriages. So if you're going in there with the idea of I want to feel happy the whole time in my marriage, you'll definitely come unstuck because that doesn't exist. And so there you can change it from either am I going to marriage to feel good or be good, right? So if you're going in there with the aim I want to feel good in this marriage, right? You're looking for feelings. Where if you decide I'm going to be good in this marriage, and so you do the be good, you think good, you behave good, then you'll get the good feeling.
Yes. So that's the byproduct, of the actions that you take.
Yes.
All right. So a better statement, perhaps, Hans, is that I and my wife are effectively married, and we're going to live effectively ever after.
Look, this is what I was saying. Look, what we're teaching here is altruistic FM. Like you got to be You got to be altruistic.
You got to give.
You got to give.
Absolutely.
That's right. You got to make the sacrifices. You got to turn the other cheek. You just got to care. You just push yourself a little bit. When you don't feel like you got to be counterintuitive sometimes. You don't feel like being. It's your turn to make me a cup of tea after I've made you 10. But actually, maybe I should make the 11th cup of tea because I'll just do it.
Mm.
And so you try and be good, and then you'll feel good
So the happiness is a pleasant byproduct.
of being good, of being
Mm.
self-sacrificing.
All right. I think I'm understanding a little
You
more.
getting it?
And then
getting
you
it?
can get the romance, you see. You get the romance when you're... I mean, why does the princess want the prince? Because the prince is such a lovely, caring, wonderful, saving human being.
But the prince
And
has
so-
to make those choices of doing that. It's not just that's just not a feeling, and he's like feeling that. He's making
Wow.
those choices.
That's
You
right.
guys, you guys have just ruined the movie Shrek for me forever.
You've ruined it. Hey Hans, I think we're getting there. Thanks for coming in today.
Okay, so this will be... I'll put this on YouTube and call it Good Marriage versus A Happy Marriage Part 2. How's that?
Part
Brilliant.
two.
Thank you,
Very, very
Hans.
nice. Thank you, Hans.